my God, check this thing out. There is so much stuff going on here right now. Where we put this meter, it's going off. We're in the dark, people.
Banged behind us.
I think we got some activity.
Is there someone in here with us right now?
I feel so strange.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Something Paranormal TV. Today we have a couple of guests in the studio. We have Tina and Rachel from Paranormal Xpeditions. You might recently know them from Paranormal Challenge. So what was like the whole experience? How did you get started with getting on the show, first of all?
We had actually compiled some evidence that we had gathered up over the past year, the year before they started looking for contestants for the challenge. And we put a sizzle reel out, and they basically contacted us and asked us if we wanted to be part of the show.
Oh, that's great. And the location you did was Rolling Hills, I believe, in New York?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fascinating location.
Love it.
So what type of personal experiences did you guys have there that night?
Oh my God, we had so many that you guys unfortunately didn't even get to see. I know you guys saw me in the meat locker with the our EMF detector was going crazy, and I got a breath in my ear that actually moved my hair. It was crazy. And then I know Rachel got really affected at one point.
We were in the organ room, and I didn't know a lot about it, so they didn't give us a lot of personal history in regards to it. So when we got up there, I started getting this shaky feeling that just followed me throughout the whole rest of the journey that night.
Sure, that's really interesting. It sounded like you guys had a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very memorable.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And you know, throughout the episode, it must have been more difficult with the videotaping and stuff going on, just besides investigating like normal.
Yeah, it was such a different experience. You're so used to going out on your own with your people in your comfort zone, and having a camera in your face and a sound guy like always making sure everything's in check. It's definitely it gets you a little flustered at first, but you get used to it, and we ended up just treating them like flies on the wall.
Yeah, you forget that they're there after a while.
How was it, being like timed and stuff? Did that like make you guys rush, or kind of get your anxiety going?
Very, yeah. I was very
especially
anxious.
after dropping everything, and then we knew we only had so much to work with and so much time, so it was kind of frustrating. Yeah. We don't ever run into and renegade a building. We set up home base, we have our routine that we follow, but it was just insanity from the time we walked in the door.
Especially you gotta just keep going non-stop. It was exhausting, and it was the first week in April, and it was so cold there. They had like this, it was a freezing week in April, and we all had these heating pads, the little self-heating pads, all over our bodies, in our pockets and everything, and that definitely was an element thrown into the mix that kind of that made it really extra scary.
It was hard, and it was a difficult experience. Actually, when I first met Zach, I was stuffing, Zach and Billy walked in, I was stuffing the heat packs in every hole in my jeans, everywhere. I was stealing them from everybody. I was like, I'm not going to freeze.
That was great. Now, the equipment you guys used on the show, is that a little bit different than what you use, or is it basically familiar stuff for you?
Well, I don't think that the guys from Ghost Adventures realized, but we actually we looked at what they had for equipment when we fashioned ourselves after that line of equipment. The Olympus digital recorder, a lot of the stuff was very familiar to us. The millimeter was new, which we were excited to get to use any of the new equipment.
Yeah,
sure.
Funds are low, so you work with what you got, but it was awesome to be able to use the thermal thingy, the thermal camera, and the EMF, the one that Gary Galka invented just for the show. I want that so bad. It has like the REM cycle on it, it does the beeping, and I think that just adds it. It's really scary because it shows you in real time what's happening, and
it makes
freaks
the
you
experience
out.
a little better.
That's what I like about the PX device also. It freaked us at the paranormal.
Yeah, it's something answering you in real time.
Yeah, I know that was a new product that had come out pretty recent, and
awesome.
that combined like the Ovilus with almost like a ghost box type of, put together, and that's definitely an interesting piece of equipment. Like the full spectrum cameras and stuff, are you guys familiar with those? Is that something you guys use also, or is that something that was a little bit different than what you were?
Yeah, we hadn't used it before the show, and I've heard about it, and I never really got to research a lot about it because I'm the photographer of the group, and I just never really researched it enough, but it was really fun to be able to use it.
It's a lot of new technology, and everybody's not expected to know everything.
Yeah.
It's quite kind of why I'm asking you, because
I went home and researched it actually, so I learned about things on the ultraviolet spectrum and more about the equipment we were using on the show. It's very interesting, and it's all very it's on a line for the ultraviolet spectrum, so it's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So how did you just get your start in paranormal research? What triggered you to kind of get into it?
Well, we had separately we were interested in it, and I think I was interested as a teenager and as a kid. I heard things every now and then, and I was just always kind of into the spirituality of it. And Rachel had been seeing things. I'll let her tell her own story, but we met by chance at a nail salon, and she was showing the lady an EVP of a young girl saying her name, and she was like, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool, I've always wanted to do it. And she's like, want to come with me? And I was like, okay, kind of said yes without even thinking about it. And I always like to say it was by fate that she called me the next day and we set up an investigation.
I have nightmares that I missed that day in the salon, I missed her somehow, but it was nice to find common ground, and she's also a professional photographer, so that
worked out great for you.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's kind of like I gave her my business card, and if you ever need pictures,
Is that something you do often, bring EVPs to the nail salon, or is that?
No, actually, I had my experience was that I've always seen ghosts my entire life. And there was one little girl in particular, Maybelle. She was 3 years, 5 months, and 8 days old. And I had seen her pretty much consistently throughout the course of my entire life. And when I became a teenager, they actually found her buried in my yard.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
It sparked my interest, and I continued on.
How exactly did you find out that exact age down to the day?
They found her stone.
They found her stone right there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting, being able to back something up as a personal experience, and having something that has a little bit of evidence to it and collaborates specifically with what you found. That's great. So basically, what's next for you guys? Are you planning on investigations in the near future, or is it something that you're just trying to do the shows now, or?
We have been taking fan ideas and going along a line and deciding where and when and what our budget can handle, and we're kind of going down the line. We actually have a lot of unreleased footage currently.
We did a lot over the summertime, and it takes a long time to edit, and we're trying to get it out there, but October's a good month, I guess, to release it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the paranormal Christmas.
Yeah, it's like the height of it all.
That's true.
Yeah, I know we had actually worked on an investigation at a common place that you guys are really familiar with, is USS Salem in Quincy. And you run the ghost tours through there through the winter time. You got a lot of personal experiences on the ship still, or?
Yeah, that was our first investigation as a team on the USS Salem, and I grew up in Quincy, and it was kind of a childhood legend, the haunted ship, and it was an amazing experience. And our very first investigation, we caught one of the greatest EVPs for our team that put us on the map. We instantly got offered to be on a radio show right after that. It was
And then right
unreal.
from there, when we appeared on the radio show, we got offered our own show.
Oh, great. Now, what did the EVP say?
We were in the anchor windlass, the very point of the ship where a gentleman who had been a volunteer for the ship, John, he passed away painting the ship, and so we were asking him questions and everything, and all of a sudden we hear over the speaker, "Get out," and we're like, oh my goodness, what was that you? Was that you? Was someone joking around? Then all of a sudden I was like, "Get them out," and it really yelled. So we thought it might have been something that the haunted ship plays over and over in Halloween, or someone was messing with us. But so we called the gentleman who ran the ship, and we have it on tape asking him is it anything that it could be? He said, "I've never heard that before in my life."
He said, "Absolutely not." That was his direct answer.
Wow.
So we went back on the same day for 2 weeks after to see if it would happen again, and that was the only time it happened.
Yeah, that's great.
See if it was a residual piece.
Yeah, it was unreal, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, we had a personal experience up in that same location, and
Crazy.
what happened to us down there was Joe, myself, and one other investigator. We're up there with the video cameras, and all 3 video cameras shut off at the exact same time. All 3 cameras completely stopped, And that was pretty unique. It doesn't happen all the time like that.
Oh, yeah.
Ours ran out of battery. Remember, we were in the pitch dark. None of the red lights were on. And so all of a sudden, we're going to grab our digital recorder that we left up there. And we're like inching towards it. We grab it, and all of a sudden, we could only see through the night vision of the camera. So it shuts off, and we're on the USS Salem in the dark all by ourselves.
And you can't run because the doorways have...
They
They
step
have
up.
that little up, yeah.
So scary.
Yeah, I think it's a great place.
I think one of my favorite pieces that I personally collected from there was I had actually gone from where we had set up, and I was just walking back down a long hall. All I had with me was my recorder and a flashlight. And at the time I was walking back to get to the top deck because we're unloading the equipment, I recorded an EVP saying, "Hey, Captain Jake."
Oh, wow.
Now, like, I had actually gone back during the investigation when we switch out teams. We'll send half a team out, half a team will stay at base. And while I'm in base, I usually like to go back and, try to listen, a little bit, while I'm there and see if anything's going on. And I had, heard that while I was there, so I was like, oh, wow, So I could use that to, like, spark interest during the investigation. And at the very end of the night, when we were all packed up, ready to go, on the outside of the ship, it was actually you who seen it. It was a plaque of all the captains' names, and one of them was Captain Jacob. And we were like, oh, wow, it's possible that could be him.
And it was only a handful of people that were the captain of that ship. I think it was like 4 or 5 people, so it wasn't like this big list. Yeah. In fact, one of the things we've gotten EVP-wise out of there has been animals. I don't know if you've heard any of this stuff.
I've heard that. There's like dogs and stuff on the ship.
Yeah, I know that we've heard audibly a dog barking a few times, but the one that's really interesting was we actually caught a pig.
A pig pointing. Yeah. It was the strangest thing.
Well, if you think about it, you're in the ship was in Guatemala to to recover people. I'm sure that they had a couple of barbecues on there.
Yeah, that's what I had figured.
Yeah, so that was a pretty weird piece. That's the first time we caught a pig EVP.
Yeah, it was really
definitely strange.
It's very unique.
Yeah, I know a lot of the claims in there is a lot of shadows running around through the ship. As far as what we had gone through the walkthrough, they said they see a lot of that. Did you happen to see any of that type of stuff while you were there?
Yeah, I did, and actually it was recorded I think the second time that we went back. We were standing down at the anchor windlass, and we looked back at the doorway where the red light shines down, and I saw something kind of seep over the door, and it was black, and it came straight through. I didn't tell the ladies until we got out of there completely, because they'll be like, we're out of here, forget it.
Right. Yeah.
So, but every time it seemed that I mentioned that on a tour, we got activity, banging, and just all kinds of stuff directly after I mentioned it. So I wonder sometimes if it's linked to an individual that wants to be heard or seen.
Yeah, we also got the black mist. We have a clip online of it's kind of like a compilation of the USS Salem, and one of them is we got this black mist. You see the camera go over, and it's a pole right there, and it pans back, and as it pans back, this mist just appears, and
it's in the birthing room, where they sleep.
Sure.
Is that the one above, like, the meat locker, where that was?
Right above it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's where all the
I would say,
live.
we're only about 100 feet from the meat locker.
Yeah.
So how do the tours work? Is that something that's set up online, or is it just people that kind of meet up there?
It's run at the same time as they do the haunted ship, so from basically the middle of the ship back is all the scarers and the haunters, and we get the front of the ship, and you just basically, they walk up and they buy a ticket, and you all come in and we show you just clips of our evidence that we've got. We give you lowdown on all the equipment and how it's used and what to expect downstairs, a little bit of history on the ship. And then we take you down and we do an investigation. We let you, hold the equipment and be an investigator with us and kind of show you different techniques, I guess, of investigating and take you to different rooms and stuff. And people love getting scared.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, we'll see you next time on a next episode of Something Paranormal TV.